Well, after a long wait, it is now official that Dr. William Samoei Ruto is the validly fifth elected president of the Republic of Kenya after the Supreme Court upheld his win. Mixed reactions from Kenyans and leaders following this announcement that was made by the Chief Justice Martha Koome on Monday, with Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga accepting the decision of the Supreme Court but disagreeing with the judgment. We've got all these here on Maisha Prime News, the bulletin that seeks to inform and also educate you on news from the country and beyond. Here are some of the stories prepared for you tonight.
The presidential election petition number E005 of the dated with the presidential election petition numbers E001, 2, 3, 4, 7 and 8 of 2022 are hereby dismissed.
Also tonight,
I haven't talked to him in months. But shortly I will bring a call to him so that we can have a conversation on the process of transition.
Plus,
but I also want to thank every single individual Kenyan for bringing us thus far. I want to wish well all who have won as they guide our country into the future. And I thank you all for the opportunity to serve.
welcome, my name is Rida Kering Chebet. The Supreme Court of Kenya on Monday, September 5th, ruled that Deputy President William Ruto was validly elected as the fifth president of the Republic of Kenya. While delivering the judgment, the seven-judge bench unanimously validated the results announced by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC). IEBC Chairman Ofula Chebukati had on August 15, 2022 declared that Ruto, the Kenya Kwanza flag bearer, won the election with 7.1 million votes, which is 50.49% of the total votes cast, beating Raila, his Azimio la Umoja One Kenya rival, who garnered 6.9 million votes, which is 48.85%. Millicent Luamba is on that story.
Kenya's Supreme Court on Monday upheld William Ruto's victory in the August 9th presidential elections, ending weeks of political uncertainty and delivering a blow to challenger Raila Odinga, who had alleged fraud in the poll.
These are the only orders that the court may make under the Constitution. The court cannot assume jurisdiction that goes beyond the purview of Articles 163(3) and 140 of the Constitution. However, nothing stops the court from issuing orders or reliefs by way of recommendations. Indeed, since 2013, this court has issued many recommendations arising from the determination of 3 petitions challenging the election of the president-elect. The recommendations are meant to improve our electoral landscape and hence aid in the development of our democracy. In this regard, this court has been greatly aided by the contributions also of the Amisi Curie. And the court places a heavy premium on those briefs that were found and those which were admitted. The final orders made by the courts. This is a unanimous decision of the court, and we make the following orders. 1, the presidential election petition number E005 of 2022 as consolidated with the presidential election petition numbers E001, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8 of 2022 are hereby dismissed. As a consequence, we declare the election of the first respondent as president-elect to be varied under Article 143 of the Constitution.
Deputy President Ruto 55 scrapped to victory by a margin of less than 2% points in a tightly fought race against Odinga, a veteran opposition politician now backed by the ruling party. Odinga filed a petition to Kenya's top court last month, claiming he had enough evidence to show he had in fact won the elections, which ranked as one of the African most expensive polls.
Raila Odinga, 6.942, 930 votes, representing 48.85%. William Ruto, 7.176, 141 votes, representing 50.49%. David Wahiga, 31,987, representing 0.23%. George Wajakoya, 61,969, representing 0.44%.
Although voting day passed off peacefully, the results sparked angry protest in Odinga's strongholds, and there are fears that the dispute could fuel violence in a country with a history of post-poll unrest. Judges spent the last 2 weeks sifting through boxes of evidence to establish if any irregularities were substantial enough to nullify the election. Koome began reading out the verdict shortly after midday, methodically listing the court's response to 9 issues at the heart of the case. She said the technology used by the Independent and Electoral Boundary Commission (IEBC) met the standards of integrity, verifiability, security, and transparency.
They conclude, therefore, that IEBC abdicated and surrendered its role to conduct elections to Smartmatic, and that IEBC vigorously fought any attempt to subject Smartmatic's activities to accountability and transparency, including the safeguards required by Regulations 61, 69, and 75 of the Elections General Regulations 2012. In response, IEBC has submitted that the electoral system met the constitutional threshold, that all the necessary information was accessed only by the authorized persons. The information was accurate, complete, and protected from malicious modification, either by authorized or unauthorized persons. IEBC maintained an audit trail on activities related to information, and that the information was available and could be authenticated through the use of various security features.
Odinga's 72-page petition alleged hackers broke into IEBC servers and uploaded doctored result form, but the claim was dismissed by the court. Both the candidates had pledged to respect the verdict, which sparked celebrations by Ruto's supporters. After 2017's annulment, the IEBC was under heavy pressure to deliver a clean poll, but this year's outcome sparked a rift within the IEBC itself, with 4 of its 7 commissioners accusing Chairman Wafula Chebukati of running an opaque process. Chebukati denied the allegations, insisting he carried out his duties according to the law of the land, despite facing intimidations and harassment. Odinga, who previously said he was cheated of victory in 2007, 2013 and 2017 polls, had framed the legal battle as a fight for democracy and good governance. Ruto in turn had urged the court to toss out the petition, accusing Odinga of trying to have another bite at the cherry through a judicially forced rerun. Ruto will be sworn in on September 13th, becoming Kenya's 5th president since independence from Britain in 1963 and taking the reins of a country beset by inflation, high unemployment and crippling drought. Millicent Luamba, Maisha Prime News, Maisha Television.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has assured Kenyans that he will respect the decision of the Supreme Court to uphold the election of his deputy William Ruto as president-elect. Addressing the nation from State House on Monday, Uhuru assured that there will be a smooth transition and that the process had already begun. He called on all Kenyans to respect the decision by the Apex Court. However, he asked that they should hold the incoming government accountable. Notably, Uhuru did not congratulate the president-elect for his win in the August 9th polls that was upheld by the Supreme Court. President Kenyatta's address came hours after the 7-judge bench led by Chief Justice Martha Koome dismissed 7 consolidated petitions which were challenging Ruto's victory. Let's listen in.
And because democracy is a work in progress, I urge the country to respect the institutions that midwife our new leaders. And in doing so, I also urge citizens to constantly put them under scrutiny, for this is the civic duty of every single Kenyan. In particular, this civic duty requires every citizen to constantly put the truth presented by our constitutional institutions to test. And they must test them for coherence, but also for correspondence. They must constantly scrutinize the coherence of the truth given by these institutions and to ask themselves whether the truth has been coherent from one election to another. Has there been a consistent pattern that is acceptable to our democratic ethos? We must ask ourselves, is it about numbers or is it about process? Which of these two is it? And can our institutions rule one way in one election and another way in another election without scrutiny? I do invite you Kenyans to keep vigil, and indeed to hold all institutions to account. The second thing we must place under scrutiny is whether the truth given by institutions has correspondence. That is, do the truths given by our institutions correspond with what is observable by the citizen? True beliefs and true judgments must correspond to the actual state of affairs. But do our constitutional institutions meet this threshold? While we must appreciate these institutions, we must also hold them to account at every juncture. And their truth has to be consistent and coherent. This is the only way we will build our democracy. I want to take this opportunity to thank every single Kenyan for holding a peaceful election. And for this, I want to thank God, and I want to thank our political parties, but I also want to thank every single individual Kenyan for bringing us thus far. I want to wish well all who have won as they guide our country into the future. And I thank you all for the opportunity to serve, and I say, may God bless you all, and may God bless this great Republic of Kenya. Asante.
And still on the ruling, the Supreme Court judges delivered judgment on the 9 pertinent issues raised by the presidential contender Raila Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua. Part of the issues raised by the petitioner centered around the split between the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission chairperson Wafula Chebukati camp, supported by 2 commissioners, Abdi Gulie and Marjan Hussein Marjan, and that of Vice Chairperson Juliana Cherera, who sided with 3 other commissioners, including Justus Nyangaya, Francis Wanderi, and Irene Masit. Chepchumba Sharon brings us the full report on how the court issued the judgment.
The Supreme Court on Monday, September 5, upheld the victory of President-elect William Ruto in the August 9th polls. While delivering their judgment at Milimani locals, the 7-judge bench ruled on 9 contentious issues, highlighting issues such as the credibility of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC), whether Ruto attained 50+1 vote, among others.
The presidential election petition number E005 of 2022, as consolidated with the presidential election petition numbers E001, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8 of 2022, are hereby dismissed. As a consequence, we declare the election of the first respondent as president-elect to be varied under Article 143 of the Constitution.
Chief Justice Martha Koome, while delivering the judgment, affirmed that the decision was agreed among the 7-judge bench.
And also the orderly way the council, all the advocates and parties conducted themselves, they remained seated throughout the proceedings. That is the judgment of the court, a unanimous one. We shall issue a media summary to help the media summarize the case.
on whether the technology deployed by IEBC for the 2022 general election meet the standards of integrity, verifiability, security and transparency to guarantee accurate and verifiable results. The Apex Court ruled that the scrutiny report by the judiciary did not reveal any security breaches as purported in the presidential petition.
Upon considering all the pleading submissions and the ICT scrutiny and inspection tallying and recount report which fully examined the IEBC's result transmission system, RTS, we are not persuaded by the allegation that the technology deployed by IEBC failed the standard of Article 86A of the Constitution on integrity, verifiability, security and transparency for the following reasons. 1. Whereas it is true that the KIMS kit failed in 235 polling stations, 86,889 voters were granted the right to vote manually, and the requisite forms 32A were duly filed. This happened successfully in Kibwezi West constituency and parts of Kakamega County. 2. While the audit report was released to the public 7 days before the 9th August election, the register of voters was used at the election without any apparent anomalies.
On whether there was interference with the uploading and transmission of Forms 34A from the polling station to the IEBC public portal, the 7-judge bench ruled that the evidence and logs provided in the petition were either outrightly forged or were obtained from 2017 general election.
No credible evidence was presented to prove that anyone accessed the RTS to intercept, detain, or store Forms 34A temporarily before they were uploaded to the public portal. The allegation that 11,000 Forms 34A were affected by staging was similarly not proved. 2. The allegation that IEBC, its officials and strangers used a tool to tamper with the Forms 34A before converting them to the portable document format, that is PDF, that eventually appeared on the public portal was sufficiently explained when IEBC demonstrated how KIMS captured and transmitted the image of Form 34A. Accordingly, we dismiss that allegation.
Whether there was a difference between Forms 34A uploaded on IEBC portal and Forms 34A received at the National Tallying Center and Form 34A issued to agents at polling stations, the Apex Court dismissed the affidavits filed by Arnold Odinga and Celestine Opondo showed different Forms 34A from the ones on the IEBC portal.
No credible evidence was presented to support the allegation that Forms 34A presented to agents differed from those uploaded to the public portal. The report by the registrar of this court confirmed the authenticity of the original forms in the sampled polling stations. The affidavits of Celestine Opio and Arnold Ochieng Oginga, while containing sensational information, were not credible, as the registrar's report confirmed that all the Forms 34A attached to those affidavits and purportedly given to them by the agents at select polling stations were significantly different from the originals, certified copies, and those on the public portal. The purported evidence of Celestine Opio and Arnold Oginga, sworn in their respective affidavits, are not only inadmissible, but are also unacceptable. It has been established that none of the agents on whose behalf the forms were being presented swore any affidavit, that there is nothing to show that they had instructed both Celestine and Arnold to act for them. yet the two have gone ahead to depone on matters that are not within their knowledge. This court cannot countenance this type of conduct on the part of counsel who are officers of the court. Though it is elementary learning, it bears repeating that affidavits filed in court must deal only with facts which an deponent can prove of his own knowledge, and as a general rule, counsel are not permitted to swear affidavits on behalf of their clients in contentious matters like the one before us, because they run the risk of unknowingly swearing to falsehood and may also be liable to cross-examination to prove the matters deponed. We must remind counsel who appear before this court, or indeed before any other court or tribunal, of the provisions of sections 113 and 114 of the Penal Code that swearing to falsehoods is a criminal offense, and two, that it is an offense to present misleading or fabricated evidence in any judicial proceeding.
On the part of Venezuelan Jose Camargo, who was purported to have gained entry into the IEBC server to manipulate the results, the Supreme Court termed the claims as hot air.
We turn to Form 34A for Gacharaigo Primary School, which was sensationally presented by Madam Judy Soweto, advocate, to show that one Jose Camargo accessed the RTS and interfered with the result contained therein. This also turned out to be no more than hot air, and we were taken on a wild goose chase that yielded nothing of probative value.
On the postponement of elections, the Supreme Court ruled that the petitioners did not show enough evidence that the Electoral Commission acted in bad faith in postponing the elections.
As regards this allegation, it has not been shown that by postponing elections in the named electoral units, IEBC acted in bad faith or was influenced by irrelevant factors and considerations. From the explanation tendered, we are satisfied that the postponement was occasioned by a genuine mistake, which in our view could have been avoided had the members and staff of IEBC been more diligent when they went to inspect the templates in Athens, Greece, where the printing of ballot papers was undertaken. In the absence of any empirical data, we cannot find a basis upon which to conclude, as a matter of fact or evidence, that the postponement affected voter turnout, as a consequence of which the first petitioner alone, as a presidential candidate, suffered disadvantage.
On whether there was discrepancies between the votes cast for presidential candidates in other elective positions, the Apex Court ruled that the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition did not provide sufficient evidence to prove the discrepancies were as a result of fraud.
A single document has been presented by the first petitioner to prove systemic ballot stuffing. A figure of 33,208 votes relied on in this claim is based on unproven hypothesis that since the number of votes cast for the president is higher than those for other positions, then without more, it must follow that there was fraud. We find that fraud is a serious criminal offense, and it must be proved beyond reasonable doubt under Section 5N of the Election Offences Act. It is indeed an offense for a person to vote more than once in any election. No unexplainable discrepancies between the votes cast for the presidential candidates and other elective positions.
Whether IEBC carried out verification, tallying and declaration of results in accordance with the provisions of Article 138(3)(c) and Article 138(10) of the Constitution, the Apex Court, however, ruled that the court could not nullify the election based on internal differences and disputes.
They contend that by rejecting IEBC's results on grounds of opaqueness of the verification and tallying process, they called into question the credibility of the entire election. They further submitted that being in the majority, out of the 7-member commission, their view should prevail and the election should be nullified. It is the petitioner's argument, therefore, that a dysfunctional commission cannot deliver a credible election. We note that apart from their 11th hour denunciation of the verification and tallying process and their averments regarding the conduct of the chairperson, the 4 commissioners have not placed before this court any information or documents showing that the elections were either compromised or that the result would have substantially differed from that declared by the chairperson. Critically, they have not explained why they participated in a verification process when they knew that it was opaque up until the last minute. Indeed, at the Serena Hotel press briefing, the 4 commissioners acknowledged that thus far the entire election had been managed efficiently and credibly. In the absence of any evidence of violation of the Constitution and our electoral laws, how can we upset an election in which the people are participating without hindrance, as they made their political choices pursuant to Article 38 of the Constitution? To do this would be tantamount to subjecting the sovereign will of the Kenyan people to the quorum antics of IEBC. This we cannot do. Clearly, the current dysfunctionality at the Commission impugns the state of its corporate governance, but does not affect the conduct of the 2022 election. In view of the foregoing, we are satisfied that notwithstanding the divisions apparent between the chairperson and the 4 commissioners, IEBC carried out the verification, tallying, and declaration of results in accordance with Article 138(3)(c) and 10 of the Constitution.
Whether Ruto, the declared president-elect, attained 50% plus 1 in accordance with the Article 138(4) of the Constitution, the Supreme Court determined that Ruto made the 50% plus 1 vote as stipulated in 2010 Constitution of Kenya.
We have deliberated on this proposition and found that it is not mathematically sound and that the rounding off done by IEBC and the chairperson was correct. Consequently, we find that the petitioners did not provide a watertight case to warrant the setting aside of the results of the presidential election on the basis of not having met the threshold provided under Article 138(4)(a) of the Constitution. We find that it is, as such, on the basis of the foregoing formula and from the numbers provided by IEBC and the chairperson and the declaration by the chairperson of the president-elect on 15th August 2022, it is our finding that the declared president-elect attained 50% plus 1 of all the votes cast in accordance with Article 138(4) of the Constitution.
On whether there were irregularities of such magnitude as to affect the final result of the presidential election, the Apex Court ruled that the irregularities and illegalities was not sufficient to compel the court to nullify the election.
Although the petitioners have provided numerous averments pointing to possible irregularities and illegalities marked by failure of technology, arranged voter suppression, printing and utilization of Book 2 of 2, EU preparation by the IEBC and its chairperson, commission indiscretions, transposition anomalies, agent absence, and many others, we are of the view that the pointed irregularities and irregularities were not of such magnitude as to affect the final result of the presidential election.
Other reliefs and orders the court can issue. The Apex Court dismissed the petitions with each party bearing its cost.
Nothing stops the court from issuing orders or reliefs by way of recommendations. Indeed, since 2013, this court has issued many recommendations arising from the determination of 3 petitions challenging the election of the president-elect. The recommendations are meant to improve our electoral landscape and hence aid in the development of our democracy. In this regard, this court has been greatly aided by the contributions also of the amici curiae, and the court places a heavy premium on those briefs that were filed and those which were admitted. This being a matter cutting across the public interests, we order that each party do bear their own costs.
Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Sharon Chepchumba.
Thank you, Sharon Chepchumba. And moving on, President-elect William Ruto says that he will call the outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta to start the transition process, while at the same time insisting that he takes no offense that he did not support his presidential bid. Speaking after the Supreme Court of Kenya unanimously upheld his election win, Dr. Ruto said that his government will respect Uhuru Kenyatta in retirement, banishing any rumors to the contrary. Let's have a look. President-elect William Ruto on Monday pledged to extend a hand of brotherhood to his rivals after the Supreme Court upheld his victory in the August 9th presidential poll following a legal battle with challenger Raila Odinga.
Our competitors have nothing to fear, like the way many of our supporters have had everything to fear for being our friends or for holding a contrary view from those who wielded power. So, and as I have said, we will respect our President Uhuru Kenyatta in his retirement. We will give him the respect and dignity a former head of state deserves.
Speaking after the Supreme Court of Kenya unanimously upheld his election win, Dr. Ruto said that his government will respect Uhuru Kenyatta in retirement, banishing any rumors to the contrary.
I haven't talked to him in months. But shortly I will bring a call to him so that we can have a conversation on the process of transition. I know he worked hard in his own way, but the people of Kenya have made a decision, and we have absolutely no issue with the democratic choices of any Kenyan.
The next president of Kenya, said to be sworn in on Tuesday next week, said that even though Mr. Kenyatta decided not to support him and backed former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, he holds no grudges as it was his democratic right. President-elect William Ruto, however, dismissed the possibility of brokering a post-election agreement to share political power with Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga. The president-elect also announced he will reach out to Odinga and other presidential candidates via a phone call and have a conversation on how to unite the country.
When our good friend Raila Odinga retires also, we will give him the respect he deserves as a Kenyan leader who has made a huge contribution to the democracy of our nation, and every other leader that deserves respect.
Deputy President-elect Rigathi Gachagua, on his part, said the Kenya Kwanza government will prioritize restoring dignity in public service and civil service.
Give a word of assurance to the public service. We are aware that your morale is low. We are aware you feel demeaned. We are aware you have become non-productive because of what you have been taken through. I want to assure you on behalf of my boss that our first job is to restore the dignity of the public service. Our first job is to cushion civil servants from harassment by officers in the police force under the guise of fighting corruption. Our work is to protect the civil servants from extortion.
While addressing Kenyans from the Deputy President's official residence in Nairobi's Karen, Gachagua said President-elect William Ruto's administration will endeavor to empower the public service so that they can assist the government of the day in the management of country's affairs. He also called upon Kenyans to support them so as to take back the economy to where former President Mwai Kibaki left it while exiting government.
Our work is to make sure that we get a working public service to assist us in the management of the affairs of this country. And I have no doubt in my mind that if all of us support Dr. William Ruto and his team, in a year's time, he will restore Kenya to where President Mwai Kibaki left us.
He hailed Ruto for beating all odds and rising from being a son of an ordinary Kenyan to becoming the president. For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Rida Kering Chebet. And celebrations rocked various parts of the country, including Nyeri, Bungoma, Nakuru, Kisii, and other parts of the country after the Supreme Court upheld the win of President-elect William Ruto. Leaders from various counties led their supporters as they took to the streets and towns for celebrations. The Supreme Court said they are satisfied that the President-elect William Ruto attained 50% plus one threshold and upheld his election. The judges found that the petitioners did not provide a watertight case in regards to the 50% plus one vote requirement. Chief Justice Martha Koome, who delivered the verdict, said that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) and the chairperson's mathematical rounding off is correct. This is how the situation was in different parts of the country.
Sana kwa sababu tulikuwa tumetarajia matokeo.
Na Ruto wamefanya kazi mzuri sana. Ushindi wa Ruto imetufurahisha sana, na ambapo sasa sisi tuko na imani moyoni. Bungoma hapa tulipigia Ruto na tunaambia wale wenye hawajaridhika wakubali matokeo ya koti, na nimekubali kabisa, na tunaimba wewe, tunasema
mimi naitwa Musa Collins. Tunafurahi sana kwa bottom up kupita. Hatukutaka kutoka juu kushuka chini. Tunataka ili tuweze kuwa na bottom up. Alafu just on the ground Weta akachenga boma kutoka chini tukainuka, na tumekuja yeye kama ako kwa mamlaka. Papo Aroma hapo najua anakuja kwa speaker wa legislative. Alafu president wetu anaitwa nani?
William
Anaitwa nani?
Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has accepted the decision of the Supreme Court to uphold the election of President-elect William Ruto. However, he stated that he disagreed with the judgment. In a statement on Monday, he asked his supporters to maintain calm as they uphold the rule of law. Raila Odinga maintained that his legal team presented watertight evidence before the 7-judge bench, adding that he believed that the election of William Ruto would have been overturned. Consequently, Azimio Moja Deputy Presidential Candidate Martha Karua responded to the Supreme Court's ruling. In a tweet on Monday, Karua said that she respects the Apex Court's decision, although she does not agree with its findings. On the other hand, the Central Organization of Trade Unions COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli congratulated President-elect William Samuel Ruto after the Supreme Court upheld his victory in the August 9th general election. Taking to social media on Monday, the Azimio la Umoja loyalist said that he respects the Supreme Court's decision and urged Kenyans to remain calm moving forward. During the ruling, which was given by Chief Justice Martha Koome on Monday, All the allegations challenging the announcement of President-elect William Ruto were dismissed, establishing that there was no substantive evidence provided before the court to prove that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) fraudulently conducted the polls. CJ Koome similarly ruled that the petitioners, led by Raila Amolo Odinga and Martha Karua, did not have a watertight case against both IEBC and President-elect William Ruto. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's legal team, led by Siaya Governor James Orengo, has questioned the decision by the Supreme Court to throw out the petition challenging President-elect William Ruto's victory. Speaking to the media on Monday, September 5th, Orengo opined that the Apex Court should have ordered the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) to open its servers for a detailed forensic audit. He maintained their claims on the infringement by the servers by the foreigners, in particular the three Venezuelans led by Jose Camargo. Additionally, he lamented that the verdict issued by the court was an ideological ruling
by the Electoral Commission, but we wanted a proper audit. Although time was of the essence, but I think we had sufficient time to carry out a proper audit, including looking at the issue of the foreign intruders, the Venezuela, talking about similar incidents in matters concerning the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. That's why I was saying it was a little ideological. They were looking for things on which to destroy our case, but similarly not taking sufficient time to look at what happened on the other side. And that will be another story for another day.
Would you admit you might not have been well prepared for this case?
We were very well prepared. I think compared to 2017, we were a lot more well prepared.
What would be the 2 or 3 points of mistake that you say the court might have made mistake on that?
In 50% plus 1, I think they were ideological. We are using the baseline of total registered voters in the land as against those who turned out to vote. If you read any legal material on what should be a turnout, including the Black's Law Dictionary, turnout is normally based on registered members in a country as against those who turn out to vote. So
the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) chairperson Wafula Chebukati has said that the Supreme Court verdict on the presidential petition has vindicated the commission. In a press statement on Monday evening, Chebukati said that despite intimidation and assault of the commission staff, including himself, the court's decision has proven that they conducted the August 9th general election in accordance to the law. The IEBC had been listed as a respondent in the just concluded presidential petition, where it was accused of a myriad of contraventions by the petitioners. Among them was the commission deployed a technology that did not meet the standards of integrity, verifiability, security, and transparency to guarantee accurate and verifiable results. The commission was also accused of interfering with the uploading and transmission of Forms 34A from polling stations to the IEBC public portal. The chair condemned the attacks, ethnic profiling, and assault that was meted on IEBC staff, some of whom lost their lives. He said that working for IEBC should not be a death sentence. Let's listen in.
The Commission appreciates Kenyans for peacefully exercising their democratic right to vote on the 9th of August in accordance with Article 38 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. In fulfillment of the Constitution, the Commission put in place a robust and transparent election infrastructure to ensure that the votes cast were counted, electronically transmitted, verified, tallied, announced and declared in line with Articles 81 and 86 of the Constitution. The general election was conducted by about 1,000 dedicated permanent employees of the Commission, assisted by over 400,000 temporary staff countrywide. The Commission is grateful to this staff for a job well done. The Commission reiterates that election is a process and not an event. This process started immediately after 2017 general election, and the Commission tested its systems and processes in over the 40 by-elections in the last 5 years. Therefore, the Supreme Court judgment today is a testimony that the Commission conducted a free, fair, transparent and credible general election that met the democratic aspirations of the people of Kenya. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission is finally vindicated. We look forward to the full judgment of the Supreme Court, as well as feedback from our stakeholders during the post-election evaluation exercises which will inform areas of improvement in the electoral process. Finally, the Commission wishes to thank immensely its legal team in not only defending it, but also ensuring that the sovereign will of the people of Kenya is protected. God bless Kenya. God bless the IEBC.
All right, let's take a quick breather. Stay tuned for more news.
A strong woman knows she has strength enough for the journey. But a woman of strength knows it is in the journey where she will become strong. Join Irene Mumbo Bushebi and Rita Kering on Prime Women Talk every Wednesday from 8 p.m. exclusive to MTV.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Is live at Hannesburg.
Barcelona is live from Damascus.
We're on the doorstep. For Maisha TV.
For Maisha Prime News, Maisha Television.
For Maisha Prime News, Maisha Television.
Trusted news, trusted sources, trusted dissemination of information.
Protect by all available means our territory.
Parliament must be careful.
Maisha Prime News, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. Trusted, unbiased, authoritative. The stage is set. The time is now. Credible news. It is Prime News. Only on Maisha TV. Prepare for the beast. Informative. Authoritative. Unbiased. Welcome to Maisha News.
Engineering jobs can now also be found widely in the computer engineering, software engineering, nanotechnology, mechatronics, and many more.
Engineering tips in association with
Kongoni Technical and Vocational College, technology and innovation to meet societal needs.
It is a season of seriousness, and only the serious presenters come onto your screen.
Maisha Prime News and Maisha Prime Morning Edition. My hustle, my story. Maisha Prime Weekend.
Rida Kirin Chibet, Millicent Makoha, Brian Gad. Only on Maisha TV. The stage is set. The time is now. Credible news. It is prime news. Only on Maisha TV. Prepare for the beast. Informative, authoritative, unbiased. Welcome to Maisha News. When it comes to technical training and research in science, technology, and innovation, you can trust Matili Technical Training Institute, whether it's certificate or diploma in institutional management, automotive engineering, mechanical engineering courses, electrical and electronics engineering, information and communication technology, building construction and civil engineering, business studies, among many. We provide the best practical training and theoretical knowledge. Our exams is from the trusted examination bodies, among them NITA, CASNEB, NEC, among others. The government provides 30,000 shillings for capitation, and of 26,000 shillings remaining, needy students can acquire HELB loan. To apply for admission at Matili Technical College, visit our website www.matilitechnical.ac.ke. You can also call us on 0721 664 708 or 0724 402 786. You can also send your application to PO Box 765204, Kimilili, Matili Technical Training Institute, located in Kimilili constituency in Bungoma. Matili Technical Training Institute, a center of excellence in mechanical engineering.